What if you fell into a volcano? It's a question that sparks both fear and fascination. The image of molten rock, fiery explosions and billowing ash clouds is enough to make anyone think twice about venturing too close to these natural wonders. But what would actually happen if you took an unfortunate tumble into the heart of a volcano? The answer, as you might expect, isn't pretty. Volcanoes are incredibly dangerous places, and falling into one would almost certainly be fatal. But the exact way your demise would unfold depends on the type of volcano and the circumstances of your fall. Imagine, if you will, the sheer power of the Earth's molten core pushing its way to the surface. That's what we're dealing with when we talk about volcanoes. It's a raw, untamed force of nature. So, before we delve into the gruesome details, let's take a moment to understand a bit more about these fiery mountains and the dangers they pose. Volcanoes are essentially vents or openings in the Earth's crust that allow molten rock, ash, and gases to escape from the planet's interior. This molten rock, known as magma when it's underground and lava when it erupts, can reach temperatures of over 1,000 degrees Celsius or 1,832 degrees Fahrenheit. That's hot enough to melt many metals. But the heat is only one part of the equation. Volcanic eruptions also release a deadly cocktail of gases, including sulfur dioxide, carbon dioxide, and hydrogen sulfide. These gases can be toxic and even suffocating in high concentrations. Think of it like this. The Earth has a bit of indigestion, and volcanoes are how it relieves the pressure. Except instead of a little burp, it's a fiery explosion of molten rock and poisonous gas. Not exactly something you want to be around when it happens. Now, let's get back to our unfortunate soul who's taken a tumble into this inferno. The most immediate danger you'd face upon falling into a volcano is, of course, the extreme heat. Depending on the volcano and the type of eruption, the air itself could be superheated to hundreds of degrees Celsius. This would instantly scorch your lungs and burn your skin upon contact. In many cases, you'd likely lose consciousness from the heat stroke before you even had a chance to process what was happening. Remember those temperatures we talked about earlier? Imagine being submerged in something hotter than your oven on its highest setting. Not a pleasant way to go, but let's say, for the sake of argument, that the volcano you fell into wasn't actively erupting with fountains of lava. Maybe it was a dormant volcano, or perhaps you managed to avoid the initial blast. Would you be safe then? Unfortunately, the answer is still a resounding no. Even if you managed to avoid the immediate dangers of extreme heat, you'd still have to contend with the deadly gases that volcanoes release. These gases, often invisible and odorless, can quickly accumulate in and around volcanic craters, forming a silent and invisible killer. One of the most dangerous volcanic gases is carbon dioxide. Because it's heavier than air, it can displace oxygen in low-lying areas, leading to suffocation without warning. Other gases, like sulfur dioxide and hydrogen sulfide, are highly irritating and corrosive to the lungs, causing respiratory distress and even death. Think of it like this. Being near a volcano is a bit like being in a room slowly filling with invisible poisonous smoke. You might not even realize the danger until it's too late. But even if you somehow manage to survive the heat and the gases, there's still one more formidable obstacle to overcome. Assuming you could defy the odds and survive the initial heat and gas onslaught, you'd still eventually meet your end in the molten rock that defines these fiery chasms. Lava, with its incredible density and viscosity, wouldn't allow for a quick and painless demise. Instead, you'd experience the agonizing sensation of sinking into this viscous liquid, your body slowly being consumed as the intense heat melted away your flesh and bones. It's a gruesome image, but it highlights the unforgiving nature of volcanic environments. Imagine the feeling of sinking into quicksand, but instead of sand, it's molten rock burning at thousands of degrees. Not a fun way to go, but enough with the hypothetical scenarios. Let's look at some real-life examples of how dangerous volcanoes can be. One of the most striking examples of the dangers of volcanic lakes occurred in 1977 at Mount Nyiragongo in the Democratic Republic of Congo. This volcano is known for its massive lava lake, which sits within its crater. When the crater walls fractured, the lake drained catastrophically, sending a fast-moving stream of lava racing down the mountainside at speeds of up to 60 miles per hour. This event, while not directly involving someone falling into the volcano, highlights the sheer speed and power of volcanic eruptions. Villages were inundated in minutes, and estimates suggest that up to several thousand people lost their lives in the disaster. It's a sobering reminder that volcanoes are forces to be reckoned with, capable of unleashing destruction on a massive scale. But the dangers of volcanoes aren't always limited to fiery eruptions and flowing lava. Sometimes the aftermath can be just as deadly.